Welcome to Autism Knows No Borders, a podcast where people connected to autism inspire change and build community. Together with the Global Autism Project, I'm your host, Rachel Harmon, a professional with over a decade of experience in the field of autism services, outreach, and advocacy. Whether through visual arts, music, dance, or theater, art can foster community, self-expression, and personal growth. In today's roundtable discussion, Global Autism Community members share their experiences with art. This roundtable was facilitated by community moderator Adrian Sanchez and features autistic self-advocates Robert Schmus and Sara van Koningsveld. Among other things, we discuss art as a vital outlet for self-expression, how creativity can help autistic individuals articulate their feelings, famous autistic artists paving the way for representation in the arts, ways to turn art into a career, imposter syndrome as a common challenge for artists, accessibility in art education, and art as a tool for positive change. In this episode, discover what's possible when art becomes your voice. And now, I present you the Global Autism Community.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's roundtable discussion. I'm Adrian Sanchez. I am an IT specialist from North Carolina with a degree in graphic design and interest in multimedia. I also take interest in neurodiversity as being on the autism spectrum myself, enough to advocate for the Global Autism Project while learning new methods. Today, we will be talking about autism in the arts. In the world of overstimulating obstacles, an escapism is provided to express our own interpretations through creativity, whether it be arts deriving from painting, sculpture, music, dancing, cinema, architecture, literature, and more. We can interpret our own reality or express our own alternate perception. And to you, Bob.
Hi, my name is Robert Schmus. I am an autism self-advocate. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker who's worked in a counseling role with the autism community, and I am autistic myself. I am also an artist as well.
Wow, that is terrific.
My name is Rachel, and I'm the host of Autism Knows No Borders. I'm also the Director of International Partnerships with the Global Autism Project. And when it comes to art, I am a musician. I grew up playing classical piano, and I also, as a hobby now, do oil painting. So while I'm not on the spectrum, I can relate to some of the things that you guys are going to be talking about today as far as using art as an escape.
Oh, yes, we all need that.
My name is Sara van Koningsveld, she, her. I'm adult diagnosed autistic and ADHD. I started dancing at the age of 2, and I started making art very early. I even had art as a child, like drawing and design, that went to children's museums internationally from the US. And I started playing instruments in elementary and middle school. And so I identify as a multi-hyphenate creative. Creativity is a huge part of my life. And professionally, most people know that I'm a licensed clinical counselor, but my area of expertise and certification is actually in dance movement therapy. So using movement, the body, self-expression. And so it's been an interesting reflective journey, learning that I'm autistic as an adult and recognizing how the arts have really shaped me and given me tools and skills at various times to be a part of community. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow, that's very interesting.
That's fascinating.
Oh, yes. Using art as both a therapeutic method to go through life, as well as the enjoyment for entertaining others. And it's great, good visual representation, as well as in movement. Now, first question. How have the arts been a great asset for our community?
Well, I feel that the arts have been a great asset because it helps us to really express ourselves and express the things that we've been going through. Been a great outlet for expression and even communication because, there's many of us who have difficulty with expressing how we feel and expressing our emotions in a communicative way. However, using things such as the arts, whether it be digital art, performing arts, or painting, what have you, has been something that's been helping with expressing ourselves, and it has been a very therapeutic.
Oh, yes, I agree. In my opinion, there have been a lot of instances where there is visual representation. Posters are used for emphasis to get the attention of members. Words on a quick post might be hard for someone with dyslexia or other reading disabilities to comprehend instantly. And in this instance, memes, emojis, and GIFs are often used to indicate understanding. After all, a picture is worth 1,000 words. What are your opinions, Sarah?
I think my perspective is different than maybe an individual that was diagnosed earlier in life, because I didn't really have an understanding of how the arts played a role in my life as an autistic individual. It's more reflective, right? Like how the arts have shaped me and given me supports. But I would say, as a creative, a dancer, a musician, a visual artist, it's communication, it's expression, it's the arts allow anyone, regardless of their ability to verbalize what they're thinking or feeling, to share that internal experience in their own way.
Oh, yeah. After all, we are the drivers of our own art in order to drive what we see and hear. How about you, Rachel? How have the arts been a great asset for our community?
Well, I'm just thinking, related to expression and the fact that art is subjective, I think it leaves a lot of room for creativity in the sense that there's no wrong answer. Like, there's no right or wrong way of doing anything, really. I mean, maybe you can be technical and say that, if you follow this kind of training, then you'll be more precise with your method, whether that's visual arts or dance or music or whatever. But if you're really just kind of letting it flow out of you, then you can kind of be your authentic self. And I think that can be really freeing for people.
Oh, yeah. There are a bunch of arts that allow you to have your own controls and engaging in that kind of activity. In my opinion, if you're working with creative software, there's a bunch of tools you actually have to learn in order to get attention to detail correctly. And I feel like it's actually helped me to get familiar with knowing how all that stuff goes if I ever find myself having to work in a studio. But so far, I feel very smart and intelligent when explaining this. So that's very good.
Mm.
What do you feel when you engage in artistic activity, Bob?
Well, when I engage in artistic activity, for me, it really gets me feel grounded. It helps me to feel calm and safe, and it helps me to really just feel like a strength in myself, confidence in myself, and just a sense of calm and a sense of grounding and being present. And it helps me to, like I said, express myself, and that's very helpful for me.
Yeah, I understand the feeling. I mean, before the actual activity for myself, I would daydream about the inspiration for the project. Afterwards, I draw up the masterpiece piece by piece until it's complete. In creative software, for instance, the piece by piece is actually layers that you're adding over and over so you'll know what parts are separate from the other, and that just makes the organization easy. I am in the zone to add attention to details while navigating the tools in digital software, but it's all worth it in the end. And how about you, Sarah? What do you feel when you engage in artistic activity?
Is very much my special interest. And so once I start, I don't want to stop. So whether it's a painting, movement, or sometimes I don't make music as much. I haven't practiced
any instruments or vocals in many years, but even when I get into listening to music, I just get lost in it. It fills me up. I'm forgetting the word for it, but I see music. I can see music as colors and shapes, and that inspires a lot of my movement or my painting. So even when I used to create dances, I could see them before I actually moved them. And so it's a really multidimensional experience. Yes, synesthesia. Thank you, Rachel. I was like,
I was going to say interpretation.
Yeah. So synesthesia is just the my brain thinks in that way when I hear music. That's even how I remembered music. Learning instruments was to see the notes, not on the paper, but actually moving.
Wow.
Yeah. So I could memorize from sheet music, but there's always just been something really special about creativity for me and the arts in that way. And so I get lost in them when I'm engaged in my creative practices.
Yeah. Takes a lot of courage to actually remember all that. But to be honest, I'm not going to remember that word. I just learned to do the one that starts with an S.
Well, it's in the chat if we need it later.
All right, I'll get to it. Word of the day. And how about you, Rachel? What do you feel when you engage in artistic activity?
I would say it really energizes me. I agree with Bob in that I feel very present in the activity when it's happening. So whether it's playing music, and I mostly read sheet music, I don't really write my own, but even with playing other people's music, I just get lost in the note reading. Like that act in itself is really meditative for me. Just kind of following it, like reading a book, like turning the page and discovering the music as I'm playing it, I really like. And with painting, I love mixing colors and seeing what comes out of it and how I can play with light on the painting, like shadows and reflections and things like that. And that energy that I feel when I'm engaging in it actually transfers out of the experience when I'm done. So like after I'm working on a painting, I see paint in the world. So I'll just start seeing like a tree in real life and seeing how I would paint that because I start to see the colors of the tree a little bit differently. I also do improv. I forgot to mention that earlier, which is a
really
performing arts, I guess. It is. And I started doing that a couple years ago. And that is something that really pushed me to step out of my comfort zone. Doing shows in front of people. And, at first I was really nervous, but it's not just about the shows. I do it for the weekly workshops that we get together and play games and run through different scenes. And that is another form of expression. And sometimes when I'm feeling really tired and kind of lazy, even about going to a class, once I get there and once I step into it, the energy just shoots up. It's like I drank a cup of coffee or something.
That's amazing. How did you get involved in that?
There's actually a few improv groups here in Barcelona. And so they offer classes like foundational classes and stuff. So I just was really curious after seeing another friend do a performance years ago. And it just kind of always stuck in my mind that it was something that I wanted to try. So just kind of jumped into it and haven't done it in a while. Now with the, change in family setup with the new baby, it's a bit hard to get away. But I'm hoping to get back into it again soon.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that really just goes to show that we're not all too old for make-believe. And with your child, I'm sure she'll very much appreciate you playing with her, especially for tea parties or playing dress up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who are some famous autistic people in the arts that you can think of for this representation? Bob, do you know any autistic artists that you can think of?
Honestly, there's a lot of people like I personally know who are artists. One named Jed Williams, who's a very good artist, and just a lot to name from. But yeah, just they seem to be someone who really like uses his art to his greatest ability, and it's been very inspirational.
Yeah. I mean, there are only some artists that I have heard about who have been speculated but unconfirmed of being on the autism spectrum. Michelangelo and Tim Burton are some because of
Yes.
having some neurodivergent mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
And some ones that I can name that are confirmed are Lady Hawk Brown, who is a New Zealand musician that has used autism as a tool to engage in her music and inspire others after going through obstacles in her past, which has proven successful in fame. Another one I can name is Peter Howson, the Scottish painter, who is a confirmed autistic artist who depicted dark subjects like crucifixion and the Bosnian War. He later went on to raise awareness with the Autism Walk to Care for his daughter, who is also autistic.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, very bold of him. And one person that I cannot forget about is Danny Bowman, who runs her own animation studio, The Animation. She went on to just advocate for everyone and just make it for a lot of young adults on the autism spectrum to make art their career, which I think is very fascinating.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hello, Rachel here. Would you like to share your own perspectives by participating in roundtables like this one? Join our online Global Autism Community, a safe and judgment-free space where all kinds of people connected to autism regularly discuss important topics. For example, we just had another roundtable about summertime, and as each month approaches, we vote on which theme to discuss next. We'd love to see you over at community.globalautismproject.org and know what you think about this episode. And now, back to the roundtable.
I know that recently Sia, the musical artist, was verified diagnosed. She went through the process of getting an autism diagnosis, and she's in her, I believe, late 40s at this point, which is interesting. You know, she's always had a lot of her own character. She's always been very unique. She didn't really want to be a performing artist. She created and wrote music and produced music for a very, very long time until someone really convinced her to go in front of the microphone herself. But then whenever she was in public, she would wear her costumes, which often included wigs or masks that covered her face. I just think it's interesting, how that journey has been for her to also come out and go through that process later in life as an autistic adult to learn more about herself. Randomly, I think Paris Hilton also has been recently diagnosed, and she's a house music DJ, and she's always had her own style and creativity. Like her or not, she's funky, and yeah. So those are two people that I've heard more about their journeys as well more recently. Not that they're necessarily inspirations to me, but just being an adult diagnosed creative autistic, to see other people thriving and being themselves publicly in adulthood, that is inspirational to me.
Yeah, that's very good. And how about you, Rachel? Who are some famous autistic people in the arts that you can think of?
I know Anthony Hopkins is autistic.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a legend. I mean, he's been in the business for decades. I heard something about his style of working too. Like, he's very, very concentrated when he has a project, and he just really focuses on getting into character and, learning the role and everything. So I guess that maybe is one of his autistic strengths. And Daryl Hannah, Sara, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
I've seen her movie.
Yeah, and she, I believe, stepped away from film just because of not feeling really accepted or included for who she was. and needing that space for herself and refocusing on the way she could create in other ways. I think she's gone more into producing and directing versus being in front of the camera and that performative space in the industry.
Interesting.
Yeah, excellent acting from her too.
Yeah, definitely.
So another thing that I've always been thinking about is people who are doing their artistic stuff in the work environment. So what are your views with art as a career? Bob?
Well, as art is a career right now, it's been a hobby, but I have been just working hard with it. It's helped me to gain more traction, like kind of getting myself into the art world. My art has been displayed in galleries, both in different places, like a lot in the Philly area, but also it was at a gallery in California. One of my works, and another one of my works has been in a gallery in Minnesota. So my work has been out there, and that's been very encouraging for me.
Yeah, way to get the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Bob. That's great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And how about you, Sarah? What are your views with art as a career?
Well, becoming a dance movement therapist has definitely made art a part of my career long term. I got my my bachelor's degree in fine arts and in dance. And, while I was in university, my career advisor was like, well, do you want to be a performer, choreographer? Do you want to be a teacher? Like, what do you want to do with dance? And I couldn't let go of this idea that like dance is such a profound way to express oneself, and how dance had shaped and influenced me growing up. And my academic advisor was like, well, have you heard of this dance therapy thing? It is a way to use dance and help people to express and create. And, and I did enjoy psychology studies. Obviously, that's the other part of it is, I do counseling work, I do mental health support, but all that to say is like being exposed to the therapeutic arts and the creative arts therapies really was a pivotal point for me, because I knew I didn't want to go through that process of auditioning for, parts, or I'm not big on like the hustle culture and like competitiveness. I did it growing up. I was a competitive dancer, and I just didn't want to do that the rest of my life. I wanted to dance because I loved it, and I wanted to share dance with others and hopefully help them to find a love of themselves and a love of music, of movement and music and the body. And so, yeah, I'm just really grateful to have found dance movement therapy and the other creative arts therapies, because I've also taken some basic coursework in like music therapy and art therapy, just to like broaden my understanding of how the arts are used to help heal and offer people safe, creative spaces. And so I guess I just say all of that to say that there are many ways for the arts to be a career, many ways for the arts to be made available to people and sustain someone for their living. Like, this is my living. And so I'm glad it's there and that it has evolved as a field.
Yeah, that's awesome. Using art as a supplement.
Yeah. I have to actually get going now. I'm sorry.
Great to have
Thank
you,
you, Bob.
Okay. It was great to have you on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait for the next one.
Good, thanks.
See you in the community.
All right. Bye.
And how about you, Rachel? What are your views with art as a career?
So similar to Sarah, actually, I studied music therapy. I haven't actually finished my certification. I was studying music therapy and behavior analysis at the same time. That was a crazy 3 years. And I ended up finishing the coursework, but not my internship hours. So that's actually still something that's kind of in the back of my head that I really want to finish. And I feel like I won't be complete in my, professional career until I do that. I've been focusing more on the BCBA side of autism services, but I feel like really maybe my heart is with the music because that's what I grew up with. And I can really see the power that music has with helping people. So, one day, hopefully I can find some time to get that done. And my big, maybe goal in life is to one day have a center that's like an after school center for kids where they can have their music therapy. And, I'll hire an art therapist and a dance therapist and a yoga therapist, and they can just come and express themselves. So we'll see what happens. I'm not giving up.
Wow. Improv, music, dancing. You two sound like a couple of party animals. You'd be the life of the party. But yeah, that's very good. Including it as part of your career, it's a very good way to light up the work environment, and it doesn't always have to be gloomy. You could just spice it up with that kind of texture. I would say it is a stable field depending on how well you carry yourself in primary responsibilities such as financial management. In cities that embrace creative culture like Los Angeles or New York or Florida, the state, are easy to find artistic jobs, but available slots quickly become scarce with a long waiting list depending on the popularity of it. Most applicants usually do not want the hard jobs, and they usually try to find the easy way out, which is all right as long as it's going to be stable for a long time and it's going to help you out on the long run. It helps to network with the right people, in my opinion, to guarantee available openings as well as to have a portfolio of all of the projects. I had originally planned to have an art career with digital graphics from the beginning, which I then became sidetracked with finishing up a degree and settling with a career in an office that was more convenient to my hometown area based on affordability of living. I am all right about it because I am still able to help others with common solutions for technical issues. On top of that, I'm able to help out the elderly with a lot of the technology that keeps evolving over time. And I know one day I'm going to need help with technology from a younger generation as well. Troubleshooting skills come in handy when it comes to creative software I am using that usually needs attention. I still use digital graphic art as a component to keep me positive and hope to use it in a career someday. Art can still be used as a hobby on the side to build up the credibility for a career, especially when you have connections to a company that embraces creative culture. I mean, it's one that just can do everything, and they're embracing diversity and the creative aspect. I mean, I gotta say, that's a real gold mine.
Yeah, I love that, Adrian.
Oh, thank you. Here's another fun question. If you have the ability to have your art change the course of events, like say you had a magic paintbrush or your music or dance skills to actually create positive change, what would it be? How about you, Rachel?
Oh, interesting question. I think one thing could be to make art more accessible for people in general. Like, it's kind of a privilege, I would say, to take art classes that are outside of school. And if somehow maybe there were more community-based classes that are offered for children to get them started at a younger age, discovering their capabilities, whether it's visual arts or dance or music, I think that would be really great and could have some positive outcomes as far as increasing confidence and having people feel maybe even like community, whether they're making friends at these classes or putting on shows, whether it's music recitals or art shows. I think just having people express themselves from a younger age could really help them in their adulthood.
Yeah, that's very good. I mean, helps to have that positive influence to just have some expression and good interpretation. How about you, Sarah? How would you change the world with your art?
I agree. I want to express my agreement with what Rachel is saying too. I just recognize how much like arts education has been cut from a lot of spaces and therefore made less accessible to particular communities, and creating more financial and spatial barriers for many communities, particularly arts like music and dance. But I mean, really all arts that require specific lessons or equipment or things that just isn't always accessible. And then having role models from those communities as well, like people that students can look up to. But personally, in sharing my art and in my career, my hope is that I inspire others to share their experiences and their stories, and that I'm creating and fostering safe spaces and empathic spaces. So whether it's a therapy client that I'm doing movement with and creating that safe empathic space, or on the occasion that I do perform or publicly share art, that is also an opportunity for safety and empathy in the community, and that my art inspires that for others.
Oh, okay. I do agree that they should keep the art as a main curriculum in all schools as well. I mean, it really helps to just help people to just interpret things in a more positive light, and it doesn't always have to be education, because at the same time, we just need an outlet and just have something to take home with us, and it'll be used as a positive memory when we look back on our school years. Well, that seems to be about all the time we have for today, but it was great to have you all here for this discussion. We have learned that autism in the arts is not only used for self-expression, but for entertainment purposes as well, and to help provide the best parts of us, and to be able to see the world in a light kind of way. And that way, it becomes an escapism. So, is there anything else that anyone would like to add for this fine topic?
Keep creating.
How about you, Rachel?
I would say when you find other people who are creating art, to encourage them. Sometimes people don't realize their talents and might feel discouraged, or they're not good enough. I think we all kind of suffer from this imposter syndrome sometimes. And so when you see it, recognize it and just let that person know. And even that little bit might just help them keep going.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And even if times are tough, it's always important to keep using art as a main tool to keep yourself on the upside. And one of these days, it can be used as a main memory, and you can add it to your portfolio, and it'll come in handy for work purposes as well as to just give someone else encouragement. I remember that I used to work on some art projects with my dad. We would go to Home Depot and we would make these kinds of projects out of wood, and I still have a couple of them to this day. It's useful for making toys as well. So keep doing what you're doing. Use art in the old way or the new way. And if the new way has a lot of tools that are complicated, always great to start at a low level and work your way up. But yeah, art is both a hobby and work, as far as we can all share.
Amazing.
Thank you, Adrian.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You're
Adrian.
welcome. Glad to be here.
You did a great job.
Thanks for tuning in to Autism Knows No Borders. Are you a self-advocate willing to share your story and educate others? Or a professional seeking to hear directly from autistic voices and improve your practice? Or maybe you're a family member hoping to support and empower your loved one. Whatever your connection to autism is, we'd love for you to join our next roundtable in our online global autism community, where hundreds of people from all over the world come together to support each other and know that they're not alone. Join us today at community.globalautismproject.org. Let's work together to transform how the world relates to autism. Thanks for listening. Take care.